Travis Wall, you're an Emmy nominee for Best Choreography for the 8th straight year, and you're just coming off your second win last year. So first of all, was that second win different from the first one? Like, was it a different kind of experience?
I believe so. I think that on the first year that I won, I think that it had been my 5th year in a row by that time, and I just was really feeling like, all right, I really feel like I'm going to win this year. You know what I mean? It just kind of had that feeling. And last year, I knew Mandy was going to win. Like, there was hands down no way that she was not going to win, just with everything she's done for the community and the numbers that she was nominated for and La La Land and just everything. It was just like it was her year. So they said there's 2 winners, and I was like, that's strange. And they called her name. And then I just was not expecting it at all last year. So it was different because it was truly a surprise. And again, just to have the second Emmy, it was really, really profound and interesting. It was really so cool.
And it was the second time that you actually got to share an Emmy in that sense. The first time you won, it was Derek Huff also won, and this time Mandy Moore also won. Is it especially satisfying to be able to kind of share it with your fellow choreographer?
They should give an Emmy to all of us. I mean, to be nominated is incredible. And the fact that we have a category where they all get in a room and they have to debate on who they think should win the Emmy, and if they can't come to a decision all the way around, then they award multiple Emmys, which is incredible. I think they should give multiple Emmys out every single year and not just pick one winner.
And last year, you did win that second Emmy along with Mandy Moore. She could have actually won both of them. They could have.
Yes, she could have. And I was like, wait, are they going to call her name twice? When they said that, they were like, there's 2 winners, and they called Mandy Moore. I was like, oh, well, she could easily win twice.
And there are 4 So You Think You Can Dance nominees this year. You and Mandy Moore again, along with Christopher Scott and Al Blackstone. What's it like? And that's a relatively common occurrence at the Emmys to have multiple So You Think You Can Dance nominees at this point. Is it especially nice to be able to go through all this sort of nomination awards process with so many of your colleagues on that show?
I mean, it is. After 15 seasons, it's really crazy to think that we took 4 out of the 5 nominees in the category. I was honestly a bit shocked that, and Nothing from World of Dance was nominated, or all the other dance TV shows that are on. And I don't know what it is about our show that the Academy just truly gravitate towards. But when you look at the 4 pieces of work, you're just like, there's just a bit of, I don't want to say sophistication, but there's just a bit of this like professionalism and the way the dancers and the emotion that's coming out of the pieces and the concepts, and there's nothing like So You Think You Can Dance. And so it's really it's remarkable that we were able to grab 4 out of the 5. And I'm so happy for Al. It was his first nomination. Al's such a very close friend of mine. It's really cool to share those experiences with somebody when you see the nominations and he didn't even know. And I looked and I called him like, oh my God, I freaked out because I'm like, just to get your first nomination and to get your foot in the door is, I'll never forget that feeling I had myself. And so happy for Chris. And then Chloe, she was nominated for James Corden. I've known Chloe since I was like 13 years old. And it's amazing for her too to be nominated for a variety talk show. Like that hasn't been nominated in a long time. So that's pretty cool.
And it does seem to be a very tight-knit community, on TV. You have the Dancing with the Stars, World of Dance, So You Think You Can Dance. These shows feel like
they very small world.
Yeah, it feels like they would be very, competitive with each other. But instead, they all feel like, in a way, they trade talent back and forth, and they feel almost collaborative, even though they're on different networks and sometimes competing.
Yeah, I mean, good humans work a lot, and the dance community is very small. And so everybody knows everybody, and everybody calls everybody, and this producer is on this producing, and this choreographer is working with this choreographer. It's literally everybody knows everybody. So it's definitely a shared talent network, and it is such an incredible family to be a part of.
And this year, you're nominated for two routines from season 14, which aired last summer of So You Think You Can Dance, Strange Fruit and Changes Everything. What about those two routines stood out to you that made you want to select those as kind of representations of your work?
Well, the duet was the first week of the competition, and to be quite honest, it's my favorite duet I've ever done on the show. And not because of the choreography, because of the performance itself. It was the first time last year where I got to sit back and watch a piece as a viewer of mine. I've always, I'm a perfectionist. I have an editing eye, always a very critical, harsh editing eye. And I'm always looking for something wrong and da-da-da-da. And the second time they did that performance, it was the first time I got to sit back and actually watch something I did and almost experience what audiences get to feel like when they watch something of mine. And it was the first time. So it was something that I'll never forget. I wish I could have more moments like that, but it's slightly impossible. But I will never forget that moment I shared with those two dancers in a specific time in my life. And then, you know, with Strange Fruit, you know, it was a week after Charlottesville, and there was a lot of angst in our in the studio with the dancers and with the producers and just everything that was going on. And I felt helpless in a way where I wanted to speak louder than I possibly could. I wanted to start a conversation, and, you know, yes, was I listed as the choreographer? Was it my idea to do this piece? Yes. But, you know, I worked so closely with the dancers and the all-stars and the producers, and we all as a family kind of said, we want to speak on this. We wanted to say that, like, you know, what's going on is not okay in this moment. Why is there so much racial tension? And it's like, we all need to come together and say that, like, this is just something in the past and what we need to move forward. Why are we not holding hands and standing together and speaking? So as one, and that's what I really wanted to say. And I put those two pieces up because I felt like I was taking a chance on putting those two pieces up. You know, I didn't know if I would turn somebody off by putting those things up, but there's something I believed in, and I really wanted to just be myself and show my confidence in saying, this is what I want to say now as an artist. And if it turns people off and it kind of says, you know what, I'm not into this, that's okay. But I'm being my truth and living it in its fullest.
And working with the All-Stars on Strange Fruit, what was the process like? How long did it take to come together? What was it like working with them through not just the steps, but the emotions involved in that?
Yeah, I mean, every step had a reason and every step had a story. And I felt like, you know, when we were just talking, we talked first. We talked about everything that was going on. We sat in a circle and we were just like hashing out ideas and how we all felt. And like, we were just sharing our opinions. It wasn't like I was talking the entire time. Like we were like, it was just this like back and forth bouncing off of emotion of what was happening. Cause it was literally the day after everything happened when we started rehearsal. And it was, I mean, tears, and then there was laughter because we were trying to get ourselves back up. You know what I mean? It was a really beautiful experience, and it was so cohesive. It just fell into our hands, the way the piece just started and then where it went to. And whenever we would create something and I would demonstrate something, this is how I'm feeling, and I would do it. And then the dancers would just like have chills up their body. And they're like, this is going to be so powerful. So we kind of knew we were embarking on something that was really important. I mean, the amount of messages I got saying I was able to talk to my kids about what's going on right now because of that piece. And then if I'm starting at least one conversation or making someone think about the relationship that's going on right now, I think then the art makes sense. The art matters if it's at least one, you know, if you're opening up one mind.
And you know, what was it like going from the choreographing process, the training and rehearsal process for that routine, and then seeing it staged with that lighting and with that really evocative tree on stage, just very, very stark kind of visual impact?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a dry eye around when we were lighting it, when we were shooting it, and the producers and the audience itself, and everyone was just kind of taken back and speechless. It was this very like moment of silence moment where it was after we did it the first time, the audience didn't even want to applaud because their bodies were like frozen. It was everyone was just bawling. It was really an emotional moment. And I looked around and I was just kind of like, this is really crazy, this feeling in this moment in time. And And at that time too, the president had just came out and said, you know, there was wrongdoing on both sides, and then it was just like, and then the tension was still so fresh, and the wound was still so deep. It was just kind of like, this is the world we live in right now. So if we can just like remember this art, then that's fine.
And with Changes Everything, you worked with Robert and Taylor for that duet. And it's interesting. Mandy Moore also submitted one of her routines is Robert and Taylor dance, and they seem so like it's not surprising because, you know, Taylor especially, you know, she has these incredibly long lines and this incredible flexibility. Like, did that just feel like a gift to be able to choreograph for someone who had that capability and who had that frame?
Yeah, I mean, I have a slight advantage because I've known Taylor since she was 9 years old. So I've been, training her. She's been taking my class. I've been choreographing solos for her. So I know her body pretty well. But Taylor is literally a choreographer's dream. She can do anything you ask her to, and she's long. So it's beautiful to look on camera. And with Robert, you know, they look like they're almost the same height, but Robert's a pretty tall guy. So that just shows you how tall Taylor is. The chemistry they had from week one was just like, Robert is the strongest partner in the world, and he knows exactly where to put a weight, and she can do anything you ask of her with her legs. All we needed from her was emotion. You know, I was just trying to dig into her and find story and depth with her. But as far as where her body could go, it can go anywhere. So your mind comes up with these crazy ideas, and then to really affect people, then you're like, all right, girl, I need you to dig deep. I need you to really connect to this and really stay present and emote as much as possible.
I don't know if you know this, but if you win a third Emmy, you'll tie the record for the most Emmys in Best Choreography for an individual, with a number of people like Debbie Allen and Mia Michaels, who actually won her first Emmy for choreographing a routine you danced in. She's won 3. So what would it be like to kind of join that kind of club?
I can't even think about that right now because it doesn't seem real, to be honest. It's not something I think about, and the fact that I'm nominated every year is incredible to be, with the surrounding cast that I'm nominated with every year. These are people I look up to. These are some of my mentors. You know, I've been taking Mandy's class and dancing with Mandy since I was 10 years old, and Mia was my first convention teacher when I was 7. So it's surreal. To be honest, it's very, it doesn't feel real. It's surreal. I will talk to me when that happens, but I don't know if it's going to. Currently, So You Think You Can Dance is in the middle of its 15th season. Just started its live shows this past Monday as we're recording this. You choreographed a couple of routines for that, so we might see you again at the Emmys in 2019 already. What are your thoughts about the season 15 cast so far as they came together and now that they've had a chance to perform live? You know, it's a very different season. It's because we're going back to contestant, and it's been a while since we've done that. The past 3 years, we have brought all-stars in right away from the very beginning, and we're watching dancers by themselves. And now we're putting contestants back together. It is a different season. I think it's a season of developing, these stars. I don't think anyone truly right now is just like ready for stardom. I think that the 10 of them, we're going to really see how they grow throughout this competition, because already this week I've seen the most growth I've seen in contestants in a long time. And it's been 1 week because we just started our second live episode rehearsal yesterday. And it's a really strong show on Monday, and it's going to continue to be. I'm on every week. I'm excited. I'm doing a couple Broadway numbers this year. I'm moving to New York City at the end of September. So I am just trying to I always just try to challenge myself and show different sides of my, not only personality, but my repertoire. I was trained in everything growing up. So I'm excited for the season. I have some really incredible and heartbreaking stories to share with everything I'm going through in my personal life.
And with, doing Broadway routines, moving to New York, do you have any Broadway choreographing in the works? Maybe add a Tony to that Emmy?
That's the next goal, is to open myself up to the community. I feel like I've lived in LA for a long time. I've had a great run here. I just want to, this is my moment in my life where I can pick up and move and just open myself up to the universe and see what happens. And I am so excited about the next journey that I'm on.
And with these season 15 contestants, I remember last year it felt like Lex was kind of a front runner out of the gate, but this season feels like it's a much more open race. Like I was watching on Monday and thinking I could see like 8 or 9 of them potentially going all the way.
I have no idea who's going to win, and I think that's what's so exciting about the season is because we don't know. No one knows. You can't look and say, we have no idea how America's going to pick up on certain people because everyone does everything pretty great, you know? Last year, Lex, there was no way he wasn't going to win. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, all right, well, who's going to place below him? We have no idea. But this year, it does feel like that.
Well, I want to congratulate you on your latest Emmy nomination for So You Think You Can Dance, and may they just keep rolling on year after year after year. And best of luck. Hope to see you on Broadway sometime soon.
Yes, thank you so much.